Hey, what's up and welcome. I'm the one and only West Coast King, and welcome back to the Galacticos series here in MLS, where today we will be getting through the rest of season number 3. We are in season 3, right? It's hard to remember sometimes. I'm pretty sure we're in season 3. But anyway, we do have a lot of work to do. Quite a bit on the schedule for today. We have to get into this transfer window and be adding, I guess, what's going to be the final piece to this team. We have that world-class center back on pre-contract that we want to get done. It's between 2 players. It's definitely down to 2 players, but we'll talk about that in just 1 minute. And then we might also have a little bit of extra stuff to do in the transfer window because of the injury we picked up last episode. And we'll also be talking about that in just a second. And then we have to get through the rest of the regular season and the playoffs. And hopefully at the end of this thing, be taking home the treble. Which, in and of itself, is not going to be easy to do, just because we had one of the most bizarre first half of a season that I've ever had in an MLS career mode, where we weren't scoring. And the team that we had put together here, it doesn't make sense that we're not scoring goals. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen for the rest of the season, but it should at least be very interesting. So let's get things kicked off here today by making the blockbuster move. Let's complete our Galacticos starting 11 by bringing in a star world-class center back. Now, the overwhelming favorite in the comments of last episode was Eric Bailly, and I kind of expected that. He's way younger than everyone else. He still has a little bit of potential. He might hit 87 or 88 like Azpilicueta or Sergio Ramos, so he's not that much worse than them, I wouldn't say. But there was one comment from last episode that really caught my eye, and it was, get Ramos, you can't have a Galacticos team without a Spanish center back. And not only did that make me laugh, but it also kind of got me thinking that it's not all that untrue. I mean, you could, but I like the idea of having a Spanish center back in the team. So obviously I left Ramos on this list, and then I left Azpilicueta as well, because he's also Spanish, and he's 4 years younger than Ramos, and the same overall. So I'm not sure which way I want to go now. Alright, so I have made my decision, and the player I have chosen is Eric Bailly. I really like the idea of having those Spanish center backs, but I worry about Azpilicueta's height in this league. 5'10", kind of relies a lot on his speed. It's going to start deteriorating with his age, and Ramos is quite old as well, so I'm not sure about him. So I'm going to go with Eric Bailly, the younger of the players. Still not a bad consolation prize, if you ask me. So let's get this contract done. Crucial first team player, 100%, no doubt about that. He wants a 4-year contract. I am down for that as well. Not that this series is going to go past probably next year anyway, but we're playing it realistic, or at least as realistic as, you know, I would try to do it if this were even possible. He wants a $77 million release clause. Let's just not have a release clause on there. And then let's get into wages here. So he wants $230K in wages, with $5 million in bonuses. That is quite a bit. Let's see if we can't just get rid of those bonuses. And let's bump this one up about $1 million to cover that. And I think I'm pretty good with that. $230. That's about what I expected to have to pay for it. Only $4 million bonus because of the wages are being so high. So let's see what we can do with that. Let's see how he likes that one. And it's good to go. Eric Bailly is the final piece of this Galacticos team. The next bit of business in this transfer window is going to be bringing in, I don't know if it's going to be necessarily a replacement for Justin Kluivert, who broke his leg right at the end of last episode in a training incident. So he's out pretty much the rest of the season, 5 months. He could possibly make it back for the playoffs at some point, maybe the middle of the playoffs, maybe even for the final if we get that far. But for the rest of the season, basically, he's gone. So I don't know if this guy's going to be good enough. He's the best I could find that was loan listed. So I'm going to go ahead and sign him as well. Ismail Azawi, I think is how you say his name. I think this was actually a player that was recommended to me in my Plymouth live stream series. So we'll see how good this kid is. So while we're working on that loan deal for Azawi, here is our first simulation in July. And it's a 4-0 win over DC United. If you saw last episode, you know how relieving it is to see this team put up 4 goals. We didn't do that one single time in the first half of the season. We never scored more than 3 in any one game, and we only did that twice. So to win this first one 4-0 is such, I can't even put into words how much of a relief this is. So the loan deal for Azawi has been completed now, but literally the next day after I finished that deal, I got a notification saying that Bradford Jamieson is back from his loan at Newcastle. Completely forgot that I had Jamieson out on loan. He can also play out on the wing if I need him to, but he also, more importantly, is also a striker, which means that I can also play Kamara out on the wing, which is where he started this whole series at anyway, on the left wing. So I have Kamara, I have Jamieson, I have Boateng, I have a youngster by the name of Henry out of our youth academy, and I have Michael Barrios that can play over there, and all of them, except for Henry, are higher rated than Azawi, so I didn't need to do that loan deal. But at least we have plenty of depth in the wing position going forward. And with that, our business in the transfer window is pretty much done. I might sell off a couple of the players out of the youth academy that I don't want, send some people out on loan, but those are all going to be minor deals. I'm not sure if there's really anyone else that we need to bring in, so all we got to do now is get through the rest of the season and see if we can add a couple more trophies. So we're on deadline day, and we're getting down to the last few hours here, so I thought I'd update you on a couple of the moves that I have made in this transfer window. I went ahead and I sold Chris Durkin first of all. I was hesitant to do it, but I figured I had Perry Kitchen. I don't need Durkin. He was getting unhappy, so I went ahead and sold him. I probably shouldn't have sold him to the Columbus Crew, who won the Supporter Shield last year, but it's too late for that now. I already made that move. Lassiter was unhappy in the team. I got Bradford Jamieson back anyway. I don't need Lassiter. I went ahead and sold him to Crotone. And then this happened. I lost Perry Kitchen. So now I don't have Durkin or Kitchen. I'm going to have to go buy a midfielder, I think. I'm not even sure who or what I'm going to do about that. But, yeah, this is what happened with this. I didn't even mean for this to happen. I did not want to lose Perry Kitchen. We're on deadline day. And I'm hitting A to go advance hour to hour. A notification popped up right at the last second as the clock was winding down on one of the hours. I didn't think any notification was going to pop up, so I hit A right as the clock expired to go to the next hour, and then the notification popped up. I didn't get to see what it was, and then before I could do anything, he was sold that next hour. So within 2 hours, he was gone, and I didn't even get to see the notification that his release clause was paid. So kind of my fault, but at the same time, I didn't really have a chance to do anything about it, so that was a bit unfortunate. So I have gone ahead and I bought another midfielder to fill that void left by Kitchen and Durkin. Originally, I wanted Will Trapp just for the Bants, but unfortunately, Columbus had sold him to somebody in France, so I couldn't get him. So instead, I went with probably a better choice for our situation, and that is Dax McCarty, a veteran presence in the midfield. I like having players like that around. That was kind of what Perry Kitchen was. Dax will pick up that role. He's actually, in his overall, he's a bit of an upgrade. Kitchen was 71, Dax is 73. He is 32 years old, but for maybe just the rest of this season, I don't know, he might stick around for the rest of this series, I'm not sure, but he's on a 2-year contract, sporadic team role. It's a perfect fit for what we're looking for. So, typically, I only play 1 game per episode for this series. Last episode, notwithstanding, that was a bit of an anomaly. That was because I got pissed off I couldn't beat Minnesota by more, and, talked a lot of shit about that and didn't back it up. So today, we're actually going to continue that trend. I think we're going to play 2 games, assuming we also get to the MLS Cup final, which is not a guarantee, by the way, because here's a look at the standings. Toronto in the East is leading it with 53. 53 points for the top team in the East. We're on 70 points. Seattle is on 64. They're 11 points better than Toronto, and they're in 2nd place in the Western Conference. It's only us 2 this year, and we're about to play them in the US Open Cup final. So let's get into that game. So here is a look at the Seattle starting 11. This is probably the only time I'm going to get to play them this year, or really at any point. So I wanted to take this chance to actually play them, and it looks like a good team. Couple of new faces in there. I don't know who Elena is on the right-hand side, and actually that's the only new face. The rest of it's kind of a normal Seattle team. All right, here we go. Kickoff against the Sounders in this US Open Cup final. Sounders have a pretty decent history of winning this competition, so I'd like to try to knock them out here. Let's see if we can't make a statement before the playoffs start, because we're actually pretty close to the start of the playoffs. Boy, Wolf, great turn. Rui Diaz. Boy, turns past Trusty. Big block, Tyler Adams in the box. Oh, that was close. Rui Diaz had me on skates, but big play by Tyler Adams. Starts us on a counterattack as well. Alphonso Davies, he's got a lot of pace. He's into the 18-yard box. Davies, he fires it home. I don't think there is actually a way to stop this Galaxy team. Just wait till I show you all of the results from the second half of the season. It has been a mad one, and we're continuing that trend here in the US Open Cup final. It's 1-0, less than 10 minutes in. Uh-oh, here comes Seattle on a bit of a counterattack. Oh, Rui Diaz, what a move. First time shot by Ike. If Wolf had hit that shot, that would have been incredible. Ball all the way up for Almiron. He's holding it, lays it across in the middle, nicely done. Play it through for Barrios. Did Barrios hold his run? I think he did. Barrios, what a save by Stefan Frei. Just for now, keeping Seattle in this game. Martinez, laying it in the middle. Koke for Barrios. Referee! What was that tackle? Was that McCrary on that? It was. He was nowhere near the ball. That might be a straight red, you know. Shortly before halftime, what color are we gonna? It's gonna be something. It's just a yellow card. How was that not a red? I want to see the tackle again. But he's nowhere near the ball. Now do we have a counterattack? Martinez waiting for the overlap of Tyler Adams coming forward. A little bit of a loose touch by Tyler, but we hang on to this thing, and then he's hurt. He got run over by Chad Marshall. There's no foul call on that. This ref has been shocking in this game. Dax lays it off. Another 1-2. Doesn't end up reaching Dax because he was held, but no foul called. Here we go. Ball up. Almiron in there for Josef. Josef can't finish. It's out for Boateng. How did Stefan Frei just reach that? That was an insane save by Stefan Frei. Boateng was going over the top because the keeper was out, and Stefan Frei still saved it. It doesn't matter. That's the end of the game. It's a 1-0 result. LA Galaxy win their second, I think the second, or is that the third US Open Cup we've won? No, it's the second US Open Cup I think we've won in this series. Seattle put up a hell of a fight. They weren't all that great, but they did fight. They did put up a decent fight, but in the end, it wasn't enough. All right, so the regular season has concluded, so let's run through these results right here. This was, I would say, a complete 180 from the first half of the season. Getting things started, we are 4-0 win over DC. Already more goals in that game than we scored in any one game in the first half of the season, so we were off to a good start there. We go on to the month of August, 3-0 win over Dallas, 2-0 win over Atlanta. 1-1 draw against Montreal was a little bit surprising. Our biggest win of the season, 5-0 in the Cup semifinal against Houston. 2-0 over Sporting Kansas City, 2-0 over Chicago, 2-1 over Colorado, 3-1 over Vancouver, and 3-2 with a rotated team against NYCFC. Not too bad. And if you were keeping track there, we gave up a total of 4 goals in the month of August. We gave up 4 goals all month with all those games. Not too bad. The defense was really, really good in the second half of the season. Continuing on, 2-0 over New York, 3-0 over Houston, 2-1 over RSL, and into the final month, you know we beat Seattle 1-0 in the Cup final. Our only loss of the season came right after that with a rotated team cross-country trip. Things happened. 2-0 loss to Atlanta there. Final 3 games, 2-1 over Houston, 3-1 over Sporting Kansas City, and then the final game of the season, full reserve lineup at home because we had already clinched the Supporter Shield, a 2-0 win over Minnesota. And the final regular season results, like I said, we clinched the Supporter Shield before the final game. We finished 6 points clear of Seattle, although they finished on 73 points, which is absolutely insane number of points. Sporting comes in third place on 50, Portland with 46, Vancouver on 44, Dallas and San Jose just outside the playoff picture in the West. And in the Eastern Conference, Toronto holds on and finishes in the top spot. They actually finished by quite a fair margin, 7 points clear of Atlanta. NYCFC also 7 points back. Montreal makes the playoffs with 50 points. Philadelphia rounds out the playoff field on 49. Orlando just misses out also on 49 points. And New England was only 2 points off the pace. So the one-game playoffs have been played and the quarterfinal is set. Montreal knocked out Philadelphia, so they'll take on Toronto. Atlanta and NYCFC are the other one in the East. In the West, Portland knocked out Cascadia rival Vancouver, so we will play them in the quarterfinal. Seattle and Sporting Kansas City is the other one. Let's get this thing going. For leg number 1, we will be away at Providence Park in Portland. We are fully ready to go for this one. And actually, a bit of good news right before we played this. Justin Kluivert is back in training. He could be making a return as soon as the next round, if we do get there, because Chara, of all people, scores the first goal. I would be absolutely stunned if we don't at least make the Western Conference final, where I'm sure Seattle will be waiting for us. Although, crazy things happen in the playoffs sometimes. Are we even going to score a goal here, boy? There you go. Koke, who I think was our second leading scorer this season behind Almiron, gets us on the board. A 1-1 draw on the road. They also picked up an injury to Blanco. We come out of that unscathed. I'll take that result. And for the second leg, we are not making any changes to our starting 11. We're just going to roll with what we got. It's what's gotten us to this point. So let's give it a go. Again, Chara picks up an injury in the 5th minute. Not all too sad about that, not going to lie. But we don't need to score a goal. As long as that defense holds and Koke keeps scoring, he is now leading the team in goals this season. We should be okay here. 60 minutes and... Martinez hasn't scored in this team either. Nobody I put at striker in this team scores goals. I don't know what the heck's going on, but another 2-0 result at home. Teams just do not come to Carson, California and score ever. So here are your results from the quarterfinal. Toronto narrowly knocks out Montreal 4-3 on aggregate. Atlanta and NYCFC tie 3-3, but NYCFC must get through on away goals there. And then no surprise, it's going to be LA and Seattle in the West. So here we go, the Western Conference Final against Seattle. I'll be honest here, this is basically the MLS Cup Final. I don't care who we play after this. If we beat Seattle, we'll play either Toronto, we beat them 3-1 earlier this year, I think on the road, or NYCFC, we beat them 3-2 with a reserve team on the road. We'll beat whoever we have to face in the MLS Cup Final. If we get knocked out, it's going to be by Seattle because this team, and this isn't just me being a Sounders fan, that is the best team I've ever seen built in MLS outside of the teams that I build and maybe the Atlanta teams early in career mode. That is a juggernaut of a team in Seattle. So here we go. At CenturyLink Field, we do have one change to our team. Trusty, unfortunately, is suspended for yellow card accumulation, so Hilliard Arce is back in there. Victor Rodriguez gets a red card in the 11th minute. But Alenia, how do they score 10 minutes after picking up a red card? Koke scores for the 3rd game in a row off of a penalty. There you go, boys. Come on, shut this thing down. They're down to 10 men. And it's Victor Rodriguez who usually scores in simulations against me. So this should work out in our favor. Come on, boys. A 1-1 draw on the road again. And we pull it out. Okay. I really wish we would have taken advantage of that red card. But we're headed back to StubHub with an advantage. And on to the second leg we go. Let's see if what I said holds true, that nobody comes into Carson and scores goals. Not in the second half of the season. That's unfortunate. We lose one fullback, and then Dubois, the other one, scores in the 7th minute. Okay. That fullback is going to be an issue. Almiron scores. We're blowing Seattle out of the water, and that's kind of be expected. Koke scores for the 4th game in a row in the playoffs. He scored again! He's on a mad one! Go ahead, Koke. Get the hat trick. Go ahead. Davey scores. It's 5-0 in Carson, California. What in the hell just happened? That's ties our best goal scoring output of the season, our best win of the year, and it's in the deciding game of the Western Conference Finals against that Seattle team. Maybe I spoke too soon about them, but we're going to the final. All right, so before we get into this final, all hell is breaking loose with our squad. Let's start with the injury. Diogo Dalot picked up a broken toe, so he's out for the rest of the year. Obviously, 1 game left. That's not as much of a problem, though, because Dubois is a right back anyway, so I'll slide him over, and we'll bring up Stelvik, who played left back for us last year, so that's really not as big of a deal as it seems. Good news, Justin Kluivert's back, but I don't know if I even want to play him with the way that we're playing with Barrios and Boateng rotating in there. I don't know if I bring back Justin Kluivert or not. I'll bring him back. I think I'll put him on the bench for this game, and I'll take out Jameson. I'm not starting Justin Kluivert. I'm not. I'm going to roll with a hot hand, and that is Barrios right now. But the elephant in the room is that the man who can't be stopped, other than yellow card accumulation, is suspended for yellow card accumulation. So, Koke is out for the final. That's a problem. I'm going to go with Martinez here. He's kind of a good box-to-box mid to put in there. I don't want to go with McCarty in this situation. McCarty is more of a replacement for Tyler Adams. So we'll go with Martinez in there, and then we'll have to drop Koke for someone out of our youth academy. Sullivan's played well in limited minutes. So yeah, that's the team we're going to take into the MLS Cup Final. It's not as strong as a team as I would have liked, but it's still pretty damn good. And I know I said I was probably going to play 2 games this episode, but I've decided against it. next season, the final season of this career, I will play the MLS Cup Final, and we will be there, by the way, because, well, we'll get to that after this game, but we're playing Toronto again. It's the same team we beat last year in the MLS Cup Final. Yes, we have a weakened squad, but no, I don't think we're going to lose. I would be absolutely shocked if we somehow manage to lose this game, unless, of course, unless Trusty gets sent off. That could be a problem, but come on, boys. There, Almiron scores. I think he's trying to take back the top goal scorer of the team from Koke. Ricketts scores. Almiron scores again. I think he has just overtaken Koke once again for top goal scorer. Or maybe they might be tied now. I'm not sure, but this is actually a close game. Come on, boys. Whew, oh, okay. Well, that was closer than what I thought it was going to be after that 5-0 shellacking of the Sounders, but that is, again, for the 3rd year in a row, an MLS Cup for the LA Galaxy. So before we get into anything else, here is a final look at the top goal scorers of the season. Remember, these goals include playoff goals, and that is how Koke ended up as the Golden Boot winner. It was Almiron and Rui Diaz neck and neck all year long, and then Koke absolutely came out of nowhere, scored how many goals? 5 goals in 4 games in the playoffs, missed the final, but still ended up as the Golden Boot winner. Absolutely insane race for that Golden Boot this year. I know, by the way, Koke also led the league in assists, but that's what you get when you add a world-class player, one of the best midfielders in the world, into the MLS. I didn't expect quite that kind of production, but I will surely take it. So here is a look at the final team for this season. We have like a couple days left of the year, so we're about to roll over to season number 4. Obviously, we have a player coming in, Eric Bailly, to take this spot away from Trusty. Although, once I instated him into the starting lineup, I gave him a little bit of training, got him up to 70, 71. Once he took over there, the defense just stopped allowing goals altogether. It was ridiculous. We were so good defensively that there was no way we were losing games. And the one game we did lose, Reyes and Trusty were both sitting out, and it was, who was our other backups down here? Hilliard, Arce, and Romney. They were our center backs, and we just got run over by Atlanta. It happens. But, yeah, Eric Bailly will be coming in to take that spot. But I kind of mentioned that I didn't stop there. We had a lot of money, and I was done being frugal. That's not what this series is about. It was about building a Galacticos team, and as good as Koke was this year, you saw what he did in the playoffs. I felt like some of you might have been a little disappointed that I didn't go get the flashy, sexy player that I could have gotten. So let's just say I did a thing, and you'll have to wait and see who's coming to join us next year along with Eric Bailly. So this team won't quite look the same next season, and I will say that if we lose even one game, and I know we have to go to CenturyLink Field, I play that Sounders team. I don't know who they're going to be losing at the end of the year. They might not have the same squad, but it's still going to be at least decent. I still don't think we'll lose a single game next season. I think the team we'll have next year could compete with any team in the world and compare favorably to them. So I'm going to leave it there. No spoilers. You'll have to see who's joining us next year. But that is where we are going to wrap this one up for today. And that is a wrap on season number 3. I think it went quite well. And like I said, I will play the MLS Cup Final next season no matter what. I probably will play all of the trophy games. So the MLS Cup Final and the US Open Cup. I don't know if I'm going to break next season up into 2 episodes, just because I don't think we're going to do anything in the transfer window. So we're just going to get through the season and play those finals. Our objective next year is just to win everything. And like I said, with the team we're going to be having, we should do that. And not only should we win everything, I think we should win every single game we play. So we'll have to see how that all pans out, but it should be a very good 4th and final season of this series. So that's it for this one. If you did enjoy it and you're looking forward to the 4th and final season, make sure to let me know by leaving a like below. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you when we come back for the last season here with the LA Galaxy in the Galacticos series. See ya.